Welcome back to the Crux, coming to you live from Channel Television Studios in Abuja. Now, I have only a few minutes left before this program ends, so I'm going to go back to the audience and bring in, for the last time, the Honorable Minister of Aviation, and I'm going to have to make it really short. So you've got a minute.
Well, I'm not very surprised, Kadria. You have been a very unfair person when it comes to these things. But anyway, really quickly, I think the idea or the fact of this capacity is extremely very important. It was brushed aside. The fact that you're a pilot or engineer doesn't necessarily make you a very good manager of airline. You must be a pilot or engineer, but you must have managerial skills. And that's why in our wisdom we think that the reason why these airlines are failing, some of the reasons, was because of the lack of capacity to manage those. When Nigeria Airways was alone and they deregulated the sector and bring in private people, Cabo came, Okada came, ADC came, Bellevue, Kwal, Araka, Hako, all of them. And they all failed primarily because of the lack of capacity to manage. And some
what
of them,
about the failure of infrastructure?
Some of them, is adding to that. I'm coming, please. You give me only 1 minute. I want to respond to things that I think are extremely very important. And I take this one very seriously, and I think it should be addressed. And the other one that Dr. Babalakin said that when agreements are done, ought to be honored, yes, provided that those agreements were ab initio transparent, in the interest of the people and in the interest of the other party, fair to all concerned, and also...
In other words, are you saying you want to revisit agreements way after they've been signed?
Whatever agreement that is done, that agreement should be an agreement that ab initio is fair to all concerned, and two, that agreement, it's not been tinkered with in the process, even after it's been signed and signed again and so on. But I think that's not something that I really want to continue on. We are going to establish a national carrier. People have been asking questions. And that national carrier is not a government-owned entity.
And it is not going to be ARIC, is it?
It is not going to be ARIC. It's private sector-led and driven, and the transaction advisors today have been passed by Bureau for Public and Procurement, and it's going to be transparently done, and they are world-class advisors. Part of them is like the Deloitte, the ProSAB, and so on then. So it's a consortium of entities that are coming together to advise on the way forward to establishment of a carrier that is Nigerian, and it's true and true.
So good. Breaking news on the Crux, we're getting a national airline. Honestly,
provide the service.
Honorable Minister, I am looking at the time.
The reasons why Aero and ARIC failed, Madam, is that in some of them, especially the two of them, there was impunity. People are doing whatever they wanted to do. This is before the coming of this government, and I believe that is why the change was necessary. That's why we were voted in. That's why we're trying to change it, to do it right way, to be very transparent,
I must get you to stop here. I am so sorry, but I have to be fair to everybody in the studio. Let me just go to you quickly. You have 30 seconds to round up, and then Dr. Babalakin, and then we'll go down the panel. Quickly.
If we want the aviation sector in Nigeria to grow, if we want the airlines to survive, we must put policies in place to ensure their survival. We must look at all the charges. We must look at the bilateral air service agreement that we signed with the foreign airlines. Ideally, what we need in Nigeria is just 2 hubs. Let the international airlines fly to those 2 hubs, and the domestic carriers distribute the passengers. If you do that, you grow the industry.
Dr. Babalakin, quickly, please.
I'll limit myself to the proviso of the Honorable Minister. It does not lie in the hands of an administrative officer, no matter how highly placed, to determine ex post factor whether an agreement had been done in the proper way. If he feels that it has not been done in the proper way, there are dispute resolution process. He cannot be a judge in his own court. The feeling that you can be a judge in your own court and change things according to your own whims and caprices is actually the bedrock of failure in Nigeria.
Okay, sir, quickly, we're rounding up. We've got to go.
One thing I want to assure Nigerians is that the aviation industry is robust. It's a catalyst to development, economic development. And government is doing a lot to improve in terms of infrastructure. A lot of things have been done. And of course, anybody that would want to assess aviation industry should consider safety and security. This is the bedrock of aviation operations. So in that area, we are doing great.
And finally, Captain.
Okay, yeah, I just want to comment on 2 things. One, on the multiple charges, as the airlines are claiming. It is absolutely not true. And they are just cooking up those charges. They are not true. And we are looking at all the charges along with all the stakeholders in line with the provisions of the law. Secondly, you mentioned about the hub. Yes, it's one of the plans we have to have the hubs, and also national airline or the carrier that will take advantage of the bilateral air services agreement that have been signed. Again, safety, safety, safety.
Thank you so much to my panelists, Dr. Wale Babalaking, Mr. Peku Showole, Captain Usman, and of course, Alhaji Saleh Donuma. And last but not the least, the Honorable Minister of Aviation, and of course, members of the studio audience who came. Although I was a bit disappointed, many of them didn't talk today. We've run out of time, and so I thank you again. Join me next edition of the Crux on behalf of Channels Television, Enough is Enough, and Daria Media. I'm Kadria Ahmed, wishing you a very good evening.